My name is David Ivory, and I'm the director of the Sound Recording and Music Technology program, as well as the Mass Media Studies and Production program here at Montgomery County Community College. Started my career path with playing guitar, and I was playing in clubs at the age of 14. And I was playing in clubs all the way through high school. And when I got out of high school, I went on a tour with a Holiday Inn type band, where it was a lounge kind of band that we played up and down the East Coast and around here a lot too. In the band, I played guitar and sang and would do half of the lead vocals, and then like the keyboard player would do the other half. And pretty much that's where I learned a lot of my vocal chops and a lot of my harmonies and stuff, because we would do pretty complicated songs like Stevie Wonder stuff and Earth, Wind and Fire. So I learned a lot about harmonies playing those gigs. That kind of led into starting to do some recording, and then that kind of led into recording other people, and then that led to when I was around 24 years old, I built my first studio. The first studio I built, I called it Iris Sound, I-R-I-S. We started a publishing company called Cornea Publishing, so it was all about like the eye and seeing and all that stuff. And basically it was a 50 by 50 warehouse. So what we did was split it in half, and the one half we constructed a geodesic dome on the one half, and then in the other half we had a kitchen, the control room, my office, a bedroom upstairs. So it was like we created this whole living space inside this warehouse. And it was pretty cool. It was an old flag factory. So half of it had hardwood floors, so that was really great for the studio. And of course, a dome doesn't have any opposing walls. So for sound, it was the best choice of it all. One of the most significant recordings we did there was Bo Diddley's last record. Bo Diddley was the guy who started that whole Bo Diddley beat, the dunk-a-dunk-a-dunk-a-dunk-dunk. That was it, and he had many hits throughout his career. As well as I worked with some really amazing artists like Airto Moreri, who was the percussionist for Weather Report at that place. And we did a couple bands that got signed out of New York. Shot Black and White was one of them, and they got a couple indie deals. So we did a lot of indie bands, and we did some bigger bands. I came to a point in my career where I was having a lot of business at the studio at Iris Sound at the time. And I had 3 employees. We all had health insurance. I mean, it was a pretty legit situation. And I realized that I had to invest more money into it. But what was happening was I was doing more business and less recording and less engineering and less creative. So I decided to downsize, sold the studio, moved to Philly, moved to Sigma Sound. At that time, they had an empty, small studio because Sigma Sound wasn't one studio. It was a building that had 5 different studios in it. And one of those studios, a smaller studio, was empty. So I made a deal with them to rent that space out. So then I had to equip it myself. I had to do everything myself in the room, but they gave me the space. I've had a lot of mentors, and they mentored me in different ways, some in business, some in life. And Pete Humphreys is one of my engineering mentors. He helped me a lot to become a really good engineer, and he's a brilliant engineer, and he was a staff engineer at Sigma. So he would help me an awful lot. We were friends early on. I was at the Dome for 10 years, and I was at Sigma for 10 years. And at Sigma, that's where I was kind of like put in head on into R&B and hip hop, which I wasn't doing that much of at Iris Sound. And it became really the hub of all activity for hip hop and R&B in Philly, like those whole 10 years. I mean, everybody from Common to The Roots to Erica to Patti LaBelle, I was recording all those people in that room. It was pretty crazy. So then after 10 years of that, I knew Sigma was about to be sold. Joe Tarsi was about to retire, who was the owner of Sigma. We made a decision, my wife and I, to move out more to the suburbs, and we just so happened to find the house we have now, which was right by the train station, which was very good for me and my clients, considering my clients were mostly from the city and didn't have cars. So having public transportation to my spot was kind of essential. It's fulfilling to work with artists from start to finish. I've been really lucky to do that at least 4 times in my career, to watch something from literally just coming in to like huge success. Roots being one of them, Erica being another one, Silvertide being another one, which is a rock band from Philly, and of course Hailstorm, which was the biggest one I did, because when I moved from the city to here, obviously that whole client base kind of went, and I had to almost establish a whole new client base. Everything else that comes with it, if you could get an artist signed to a major label. When I found Hailstorm, I literally worked with her for 4 years, developing, songwriting, performing, introducing her to different managers, all that. And then when she finally got signed, it was the best thing that could possibly happen, because it was like all that work paid off. Because, you know, I didn't get paid for any of it. So I was putting up 4 years of work for literally no money, spending money actually, to hopefully to get that all happen. And it did. And that was a very fulfilling. A lot of the records I did went multi-platinum. That's again like the Roots and Erica. Patti LaBelle went gold and platinum. I did 3 records for her, all went gold. And then, you know, I was Grammy nominated for my work with the Roots. I was also, you know, I got a Lehigh Valley Award for production. A lot of certificate awards for my work with, Grammy certificates with my work with artists, because if you're an engineer for like a single and the single gets a Grammy for writing, you don't necessarily, the engineer doesn't get a Grammy, but they get a Grammy certificate. So I have a couple of those for different projects I've worked on. Yeah, I've been a voting member for the Grammy since like 93. So, and of course, then I ran and I was president of the Philadelphia chapter. And then I was the national trustee for 2 terms for the Philadelphia chapter. And the national trustees are the ones that go and vote on the procedures of the Grammys in LA once a year, twice a year actually. The Music Industry Task Force was formed in 2017 from a resolution of City Council, Philadelphia City Council, which wanted to assign music professionals to look at recommendations to help increase the economy of the music economy of Philadelphia and the region. So there was about 12 of us that were picked. I became the chair of the committee. And for 2 years, we met once a month to come up with these recommendations and policies that we felt would help. We provided the 10 recommendations that we established, some of which were pretty simple, like loading zones in front of clubs, playing Philadelphia music in the airports and in the train stations, all the way to establishing a music office, which is the biggest thing that we tried to do, which is sort of like what the film office was established, but actually establish an independent music office. So we had a hearing. We had a lot of people show up, and it passed unanimously. So now the Music Industry Task Force kind of did their job, and now I'm working with city council members right now to kind of advance this music office so that we can help sort of be an overseer of all the different ancillary organizations that are in Philadelphia. I got associated with Montgomery County Community College because Mike Kelly, who's an instructor here, would bring his music business class to my studio because I knew Michael at CCCP. I used to do master classes there for him in Philly. So when he moved out here to teach, then he would bring his classes to my studio. So because Monaco at the time didn't have a studio. So that was the closest, easiest studio to go to that they could see real equipment. I could show them, you know, how things interact and that kind of thing. So we did that for several years. The program under Morgan Betts and Mike Kelly started growing, and then they needed an instructor. So since it's a mile away, I said, I'll help you out. So then I started just teaching, you know, as an adjunct in 2009, just kind of 1 class, 2 classes a week or whatever, not very little, but still teaching. And then it kind of that slowly built. And then in 2016, I was approached to come on full time. At the time, it was a little difficult because my production company was super busy too, but I managed it all to work it out. And then around 2017, the powers that be here came and asked, you know, what would be your vision of an amazing recording program? This is it. 3 years later, this is what we built and designed. Basically, I didn't really want to do it unless the college really was going to get behind it. I just didn't want to do it kind of like not fully properly because I didn't want my name even associated with that. But they guaranteed me, they assured me that it was going to be great, and they did. And they basically, as they say, put their money up to what they had to, and here it is, and very happy about it. So this console is the finest analog mixing console ever made. This was the end of the Mohicans, so to speak, because this was the final analog console that SSL made before it went digital. This was made in 2006. It cost $1 million. There was only 44 ever made. There's many generations of SSL consoles, starting with the E series, then the G series, then the J series. This is the K, and if you know your alphabet, you know that's the end of the line. And this is sort of like our flagship, our anchor to the whole room and to the whole program, because this is the best way to learn signal flow, which most students don't really understand when they first come here. And to see it, touch it, feel it, instead of using a mouse to figure it all out, it's a little bit better for the student, we feel. Some of the other equipment, I joke that this room has every great technology from 1960 to 2023. And that's because we still have the best tape decks, the best 24 track ever made was that Studer. And behind that screen is the best 2-track ever made, which is an Ampeg 2-track. That's from the 80s and 90s, and this is all gear from the 60s, all tube EQs and compressors. S6 is from 2015. That's a new console from Avid. And this is brand new above us, which is the Dolby Atmos system. And that's the very latest technology in mixing. The advice I have for the next generation who are trying to get into the music industry is, one, don't get in it for the money, because money will come. Get in it because you love it, number one. Because if you love it, you're going to work hard, which you have to work hard to be successful in this business. It will not happen without a lot of hard work. But if you love what you do, you don't even work a day in your life. So the main thing is to be humble, pay attention, work hard, and try to learn everything you possibly can while you have the opportunity. Because now's the time to build your foundation. Now's the time to build your network. Now's the time to start your path.